Hello and welcome to the Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast. We are your hosts, Eric Sturgeon.
And I'm Russell Sorry.
This podcast is about all things Wisconsin, history, music, and culture.
While drinking a few brews.
Though we don't often use strong language, the jokes and the content is not intended for young audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Before we begin the episode, we have to give a huge shout out to the Dangets from Madison, Wisconsin, for providing us with great bluegrass intro you hear at the beginning of every episode. The song Razzle was written by Jamie Lampkins, but is performed on behalf of Tom Wasselchuk and the Dangets. If you have a chance, check these guys out at dang-its.com for upcoming shows, music, or on how to book them for weddings, parties, and etc. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, welcome back. This is another episode of Wisconsin Drunken History, but you already know that. You clicked on the episode, so nice job. Thank you again for listening and supporting. We really appreciate it. We have another great episode for you guys today. The main story today is going to be the inspiration behind the Indiana Jones character that we all know. It's Wisconsin's own Roy Chapman Andrews. We also have great Wisconsin music from No Show Cadillac, our friend Connor. We have another beer review. We have an installation of How Many Locos You At. And we also have an interview with G5 Brewing Company. So without any further ado, let's jump right in. Let's hear a little bit about Roy Chapman Andrews.
So yeah, we have another great Wisconsin character, kind of an unknown person, but his name is Roy Chapman Andrews. He was born in Beloit, Wisconsin on January 26th of 1884. He's best known for being an explorer, adventurer, naturalist, paleontologist, archaeologist, author, and the inspiration behind Indiana Jones.
Now those are some, that's huge. Indiana Jones was such a monumental film.
Yeah,
and I'm not talking about the new Alien one, but the original three.
With what's that kid's name in that? The kid.
He's like Dr. Jones.
Yeah.
I don't remember the kid's name, but
and even in the Crystal Skull, they have like what's that guy's name? That kid who's in that. He's like
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Is that the kid you're talking about?
Yeah, that kind of already ruined the movie when I saw he was in that, honestly, to be honest with you. But
especially coming off of like the Transformer stuff, it's like, let's just throw Shia LaBeouf wherever we want now.
Right. It's
bad casting.
Exactly. So as a kid growing up in Beloit, he found love in the outdoors, exploring the woods, fields, and water surrounding the area. He was also into hunting and shooting. As a young man, he taught himself taxidermy, which he used the money from his side hobby, taxidermy, to pay for his education at the Beloit College. And today, if you want to get into Beloit College, it's a private college, you're going to have to skin a lot of deers to go to that school.
You're going to have to put back together a bunch of dead animals on a serial killer level.
Yeah, this is straight American Psycho level taxidermy if you want to go to Beloit College today.
How thick's your business card? That's like a throw from, what was that? Was that American Psycho?
Yeah, I think it was American Psycho.
I wanted to make sure I wasn't wrong on that.
With Christian Bale.
Yeah.
He was
Huey Lewis in the News.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dude, they're like that movie, Huey Lewis in the News, honestly. So he was so set out to work for the American Museum of History in New York that he accepted a janitorial position in the collection area and the taxidermy department. And he actually started to help and add specimens to the collection. While working in this position, he continued going to school and eventually earned a Master's of Arts in Mammalogy from Columbia University. He also became a member of the Explorers Club in New York City in 1908, just 4 years after the club had been initiated, thus leading him into adventure and securing him as one of the inspirations behind the Indiana Jones character we all know and love. And here are some of his probably the most known and legendary expeditions that he carried out. So the first one was in 1909, and he was aboard the USS Albatross to the East Indies to collect reptile specimens as well as observing and documenting the marine mammals. In 1913, he sailed aboard the schooner, the Adventurous, to the Arctic. There, he was hoping to collect a bowhead whale specimen, and even though this was a failure, he filmed some of the best-known seal footage ever to be shown to the public at this time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, pretty exciting guy. In 1914, he married his first wife, Yvette Borup, where in 1916 they led their famous expedition to the western regions and western and southern part of the Yunnan region of China. And before this time, there wasn't a lot known about the area. And, for the 1920s, this is pretty exciting for people. If you wish to learn more about his expeditions, you are in luck, as all of the books, and this book specifically called Camps and Trails in China, documents the entire trip in detail, and thus making him the famous explorer we all know and love of the time period, and which is really sad that we don't hear about him today, because obviously a lot of stuff has been explored now, and a lot of it's already known. There's people everywhere. We have social media.
It wouldn't be as exciting to necessarily read about today, because everything already is discovered. But it's kind of neat to take yourself back and put yourself in the shoes of somebody in early 1900s United States, where things maybe weren't as explored, and read about the documentation of all these discoveries as they're being made, told by the man who's doing these explorations. That's awesome.
And actually, the costume that Indiana Jones wears, Roy Chapman Andrews wore. He wore a hat, like a leather coat.
Right.
I don't know if he carried a whip.
A whip.
He might have carried a whip. I don't know about that.
Did he hate snakes?
Yeah, he might have hated snakes.
Yeah.
The MO of Indiana Jones.
He had an Asian kid as a sidekick.
Right.
Sean Connery was in one of them.
Sean Connery. But he has many publications, so you can actually go and pretty much every one that he went on, he made a log book. So you can actually go and get these from the library.
Probably made a log too.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. 23 logs to be exact. And another one of his famous expeditions was in the Mongolia area, where he went and discovered the Gobi deserts, which, besides the native region that they were well known in, this was kind of an unknown area of Mongolia. And there weren't very many people that went there because it's very harsh terrain. Yeah. And it's very hard to live there.
Pretty dangerous stuff, too. If
you're
not used to it.
A funny thing is, a lot of people used to be scared to go there because they were told about these Gobi desert worms that would eat people. They come out of the ground. Like, have you ever seen the movie Tremors?
Have you ever seen the movie Star Wars?
Yeah, right. It's the same thing.
Or Dune,
where they got the snakes that come out of the ground and suck. That's what they believed. It was called the Gobi desert worm, and so people were scared to go to this area.
I mean, I could see that.
In 1920, he would lead a fleet through the desert, documenting all of the foreign landscapes, and would discover one of his first major finds in paleontology. He discovered a long-extinct hornless rhinoceros, which was sent back to the American History Museum, where there, in December 19th, the fossil was dubbed Andrewsarchus after his discovery. So he actually has a dinosaur named after him, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. I mean, as a kid, I can think of no better thing than to have a dinosaur that I get to name. I mean, It would have been a really stupid name if I named it as a kid, but yeah, that's an incredible feat.
I kind of want a dinosaur named Saurosaurus, but it's kind of sweet. I don't know. But he would eventually be featured on the cover of Time magazine in October 29th of 1923, featuring this specific expedition, the Gobi Desert Expedition, which is that's a big feat to get on the cover of Time magazine.
Yeah, I mean, that's reserved for only the most important people or the most influential. I mean, this isn't just something handed out to everyone.
Right. And so this next topic, I don't want to get too down the rabbit hole here, and I don't want to offend anybody, but originally there used to be Andrews and other people and scientists at the time believed that there was the out of Asia theory for evolution that existed. And obviously today we know it's false. We know that people came from the African plains and they branched outward and they kind of migrated to different areas. You got the Caucasus Mountain regions, you got the India, you got Chinese, and it was just kind of a over time period development more than anything. I mean, really, skin color, all it is pigment. That's all it is.
And I think it's also really important to note that although we know it's false and there's no scientific backing to prove that this is accurate, the point we're making is this was a theory at some point. So if you are into reading about history, this is especially the history of man. If you are interested in that, this is a very important piece to note, that this was one of the early theories of where people came from and where they originated from.
Exactly. And there, at this time period in the 1920s, there were a few scientists that really pushed this concept. But obviously today we know, even with all the DNA and genetics, that we did come from the African plains, which is pretty cool that we can figure that out. But so he wanted to set out to prove his theory, and in 1922 to 1928, so he led multiple expeditions called the Central Asiatic Expeditions to look for the remains of ancient humans. Though nothing came of this, and no remains were found that were like a great discovery.
Yeah.
He did find additional dinosaur species that were not discovered yet. The oviraptor, which is like this really tiny raptor. They found a whole bunch of those out there.
Okay.
Just some pretty cool discoveries for the time period.
So essentially, he's responsible not only for the Indiana Jones franchise, he's also responsible for Jurassic Park.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, really, he discovered a lot of species on his trips. I mean,
I hope his family's collecting royalties.
Oh, I agree.
Those are some gigantic movies.
And yeah, so the one find that made him really famous at the American History Museum was he found a nest of dinosaur eggs that were fully fossilized. And it was the first time.
The egg was?
The eggs were fossilized, a full nest of eggs.
Isn't that what the one guy in Jurassic Park had on the tip of his cane? Was like a fossilized?
It was actually a mosquito in amber, I think.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and it like had dino DNA because it bit a dinosaur and got stuck on a tree, basically.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So before they were able to go home and take these, the Chinese government actually seized the items, but they were eventually returned. And one final trip he made in this location was in 1930, where he discovered mastodon fossils in Central Asia, which was huge. No, I mean, we didn't know the range at the time, but now we knew that they were pretty much all along the Arctic and even in Central Asia, which is pretty incredible.
I mean, one stride for them, and they used to migrate quite, huge distances, and one stride for a mastodon is amazing. I mean, they're closely related to elephants, but not nearly as big.
Yeah, exactly.
The elephants are not even close to what the size of a mastodon was. We're talking like 2 to 3 times the size of
massive,
an elephant is a
beast.
mastodon.
And then, so when he returned, he would actually return to his first wife, Yvette, where they ended up not working out and were divorced, where he did have 2 kids with her. But in 1935, he remarried his second wife and final wife, Wilhelmina Christmas, which is a sweet last name.
Yeah.
Christmas is so awesome. That was the last name.
Christmas is cool, man. Presents.
After all of his adventures in his younger days, he would eventually settle down, becoming the president of the Explorers Club in 1931 and in 1934. But the reason he kind of had to stop running for this is in 1934, he worked his way up in the museum and actually became the director of the American History Museum. And in 1942, he would retire and settle in Carmel Valley, California, where he would continue to write about his life and his adventures. On March 11th, 1960, his adventures would come to an end, and he passed away from heart failure in California. His body was brought back to his home in the town of Beloit, where it rests at Oakwood Cemetery. And you can actually go visit the grave today. It's usually... Yeah. Beloit College has a pretty good paleontology, like archaeology department, and I think every year the students kind of make an homage there and like leave really cool relics and stuff on there, which is pretty cool. I've always wanted to go check it out myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was never confirmed by George Lucas, but some of the people in the studio said that he was one of the main inspirations behind Indiana Jones. There were a couple other characters of the time period that were like adventurers. But they didn't dress the part, and they didn't do probably quite as many known adventures as Roy Chapman Andrews.
And I would imagine, if you think about it, there's a lot of, archaeological stuff happening early on in the United States, explorers, all that sort of stuff. I don't think that, we ever romanticized the idea of it, and that's why the movie is so successful, because we normally think of that as just a couple of nerds out in the middle of a desert digging up stuff and, dusting off bones and stuff. So in my theory, it's, George Lucas just romanticized the idea that, digging for these fossilized remains and, proving that dinosaurs existed or any of that stuff could be dangerous. If we made it like the space race in the 60s, who could get to the moon first? If they romanticized that idea and said, ooh, there could have been a major war just because of that. I mean, obviously there was, there was, threats and stuff during the 60s, Cold War and all that stuff. But as far as, making it seem like, the Nazis were after you because you were trying to dig for bones and find treasure.
Right.
That didn't happen. But this is a phenomenal story. And I'm sure that Roy Chapman Andrews accounts for at least a great sum of the inspiration, but I'm sure that it's really just a fantastic idea that, that pops into your head, hey, why don't we create a movie that talks about a paleontologist or, whatever going out and he's getting shot at because he's trying to discover all these things that they didn't want discovered.
Exactly. And around this time period, so from probably the turn of the century, late 1800s to around the 1920s, there was a lot of expeditions. Obviously, we've heard of like Shackleton.
Yeah.
And there was just a lot of new discoveries that were being made. So, he's just one of the characters involved. And he's a really cool Wisconsin character, kind of one of those unknown people in Wisconsin. And I wanted to bring it to everyone's attention.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. And then to be able to let them know that there is that seemingly existing correlation between Roy Chapman Andrews and Indiana Jones. Now it's your time. Go back and watch those movies, and read about Roy Chapman Andrews and see if you can pinpoint some extremely noticeable character, similarities between the two, and let us know. Let us know what you find between the movie and some of your own digging, if you will, into Roy Chapman Andrews.
And that'll conclude the episode, the main story of the episode today, and we're going to move on to the music segment.
Yeah, so today we have phenomenal music from a really close personal friend to both Russ and I, Connor Scarrow of the band No Show Cadillac. Really, really phenomenal music. That I just absolutely love Connor's ability to sort of improvise instrumentation. Finding things that make musical noise.
Yeah, I love the rawness of it too, like the emotion and the rawness. Like I love that kind of stuff personally.
And then not to leave out the fact that he's probably one of the best finger picking stylistic players that I know. He's absolutely phenomenal. And the way that he makes the guitar speak and it just really tells an entirely different story than what I've heard other musicians play. It's just amazing. It's almost deeply rooted in blues, but it has that bluegrass folk kind of feel. And then, like you said, it's very, very raw. It just feels really personal. And then the lyrics as well. He's an excellent storyteller in that.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I love kind of like the folk music where you're telling a story to somebody. It's not just like a repeated word 100 times. Like somebody took the time to actually work these lyrics out. You know?
Yeah, it isn't a pop song where they find the same hook and then they just go with it 1,000 times.
Right.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some really good effort and emotion put into this. So without further ado, here is No Show Cadillac, Dark Clouds of the Plains.
Amidst storms of the plains, dark clouds for miles, making me feel small. Dark clouds that speak to the soul, put me in the world, in our place. Nostalgic green and black, well, that smell that brings me back to the child beneath that toad tree. The times I didn't have to ask what this fucking world meant to me. And the windmills fight the wind, well, Don Quixote fights them. And I I fight the fears of being best friends with him. I hope I'll run this storm with my car. But I guess that's just the logistics of it all. 'Cause I miss chasing streams, well, the grass, the clouds, and the bloody knees. And this is different anyway. I don't remember tumbleweed. I don't remember dust like this. I remember the rain beneath that toad tree. Remember the rain beneath that toad tree. I guess some sights inspire feelings, some feelings inspire words. I guess some sights inspire feelings, some feelings inspire words. I guess that's all this is, I guess that's all it's meant to be. I guess that's all this is, I guess that's all it's meant to be. I guess that's all this is, I guess that's all it's meant to be.
All right, guys, that is No Show Cadillac, Dark Clouds of the Plains. Look this guy up on his social media. He's got Facebook. And I believe he has a Bandcamp as well, but also check out his music on Spotify. He's on Apple, so you can go ahead and purchase some of that stuff. Let's make sure to support all of our local artists here from Wisconsin. It'd be really nice to see, some of these artists break out that we have here. All right, so we have another edition. Or what did you have?
No, so we're trying to keep this episode all Beloit. So our How Many Loco segment you got is actually from Beloit, and it's a pretty wild one. I'm just gonna throw it out there. It was big news for a while. I remember seeing it in the newspaper, on the news. I drove past after the collision happened. It's pretty nuts.
And I see a picture. There's a video of a news article. There's not a video of it happening, so don't try to look for that. But there's just a picture of the start of the video here, where it's literally a Dodge Ram truck that looks like it just parked on through someone's roof. So we'll go ahead and read the article here, and we'll give you our take on it.
A pickup crashed into the roof of a garage of the Beloit condo Saturday afternoon. The call came in about 4:26 p.m. for the resident of the 2900 block of Park Avenue. People were inside at the time of the crash, but there were no reported injuries. Police identified a driver as a man from Beloit as the driver of the truck. According to the town of Beloit Police Chief Ronald Northrup, he was traveling at high speeds when the truck left the roadway into an empty water retention area.
Okay.
The car became airborne, traveling about 26 yards before crashing into the roof.
So that's one of the things that we had talked about off air just a second ago, was that by the way that you see the truck in the garage, through the roof of the garage, is there's no damage to the exterior walls or the garage door, like down by the by the pavement or cement, or even down by the foundation or anything. This clearly had to have been a Dukes of Hazzard County kind of thing, where these boys, I mean, they must have been playing some hot tunes and just took it off basically a bike ramp.
There go them boas again.
Yeah.
Yeehaw! Just freaking straight up into the roof, man. I mean, it would have been a sight to see. Like I said, I got to see the aftermath. I never got to
Right.
see the truck in there because they towed it out at that time. It was gone. But that's some damage right there. I mean,
and that's an insane thought that a full-size pickup truck could, at any speed, get up. I mean, even the ramp had to have been, they just said it was like a water retention area. I'm kind of just imagining that it's a ditch.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like he went down and instantly just hit that thing.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy had to go airborne, and it would have been a Dukes of Hazzard thing to see. But
Yeah, I'm shocked. I've seen some cool stuff. I've seen cars do really, really unique things, but this is pretty insane to think that a full-size pickup truck could get enough air and then land through a roof, which is easily, from the looks of this, it's at least 9.5, 10 feet up that came through the top. So this truck had to be at its peak somewhere around 15 feet in the air to be able to even make the crash that it did. This is absolutely insane.
yeah, I mean, if you had a guess on this guy, I mean, like, how many
Well,
locos is there more to the story here?
Well, no, I'm just saying here that 4:26 p.m. is when a call came in about the incident.
Right. So he started early.
4:26 p.m.
He started early.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of bars don't even open until like noon.
Right, especially on Sundays.
That's not 4.5 hours of drinking. And we also know that didn't happen at 4:26. We don't even know if these people, or they said they were home.
Yeah.
So this, I'm sure it happened like right
They probably
after.
called right after.
So 4:24 is when he launched into the roof. 4:25, they all shit their pants.
yeah,
And 4:26 was when they were like, all right, we better take out our
Yeah.
iPhones and call this guy.
that's just insanity.
Call the police, rather. So I'm shocked.
Yeah,
I don't even know when this guy would have had to have started to drink, but in my personal theory, this beats last episode or two episodes ago. We had a 20 loco.
you think this is gonna top it?
It has to.
I mean,
This is quite obviously like a 2024 loco.
oof,
I mean,
it's bad. No, I
he had to have had six cans.
a caser of loco,
Exactly.
which is just insanity.
Yeah, he had the little plastic rings that he has to, pop off that end up killing dolphins or whatever, or turtles, shaping turtle shells. He had to do all of that work while he's driving his truck and sipping down some of that Four Loko juice.
Yeah, so not only SeaWorld is giving him the middle finger, but he got a middle finger from these homeowners too,
And you know what the sad part is? You mentioned this was at a condo. I can only imagine that the condo association got there and saw this, and Karen, the president of the condo association, was probably like, your roof's not up to code.
Oh, for sure. She came there with her shortcut and her little designer purse and just started like, yeah, this isn't going to work, guys.
Yeah, she takes out the little pencil that you use for golf scoring, and she's marking it down that condo 15 doesn't have a proper roof, and they've got a Dodge sticking out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, the Dodge Ram in your roof is just not up to code.
Yeah.
I'm writing her down.
You don't see the other condos having Dodges in their roof, do you? And also, there's tire tracks in there in your yard. That's just not going to fly with us, okay?
So do you think, like, I'm honestly thinking, so you know how we do the Four Loko segment? These guys probably aren't actually drinking Four Loko, but this guy might have been drinking Four Loko.
This guy easily
to hit that adrenaline jump.
This guy, of all of the ones that we have talked about, the guy who did like 6 blocks worth of damage or whatever, that guy, he easily could have been on there. The guy that got tased after blowing out his front 2 tires, that guy easily could have been on Four Loko. This guy, above any one of them, is like the one case where I'm thinking he's on for, and we don't say he's drinking Four Loko. Four Loko, we refer to it as almost like we would a drug. He is on Four Loko.
Yeah, and like I don't know if you ever seen the guy, the Kyle, where he's chugging monsters. Like this is like the guy I imagine driving the truck with like monster tattoos and a Fox T-shirt, just like baby.
A K&N filter sticker on the back window.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just adrenaline junkie.
Extra horsepower for those stickers, baby.
Yeah, heck yeah. Adrenaline junkie on there.
He's
like
got
just
a 4-inch exhaust on the back that it's just louder than hell.
Normally has dirt bikes in the back of his truck. Luckily he didn't today. Like that's the guy I'm thinking.
Yeah, 2 dirt bikes, a regular kid's Huffy bike, 1 4-wheeler, a case of Monster.
The whole arsenal of adrenaline.
He's got his Coleman cooler just stacked to the brim with Monster and 4 Loko. No water.
Oh, definitely not.
All right. So we're in agreement then. 24 Loko easily.
Yeah, this is the peak 6-can 24 Loko. This is the 6-packer right here.
I want to say that he probably also tried to reverse his truck out of there too. I guess.
Well, I can get out of here, no problem.
Yeah, do you see this is a Dodge Ram 1500.
Shoot her in 4x4.
It's got a Hemi.
I'm going to put her in 4x4 and see what she does, boys.
All right, we have another beer to review.
Yeah, today we have a special one from called Scotty Hazy Hop, which is right up our alley.
It is a cool can to start off with, by the way. I just want to let everybody know this one's pretty easy pinpointed. Really, really green beer can, Scotty written in gigantic white bold lettering.
Yeah, it's a really cool can, and it's brewed by the Wisconsin Dells Brewing Company in Lake Delton. It's a hazy hop at a 7.8% ABV. This is not an all-day drinker.
This one's going to screw you up.
Yeah, but this one's packed with like the tropical fruit, has a citrus and pine flavor to it.
Vitamins.
It's like it's action packed with vitamins, minerals.
Plenty of B12.
Yeah, you'll be good to go. This one's the only vitamin you need once a day.
Vitamin to Vegemin.
But yeah, it has a really good citrus flavor. I'm getting like a little hint of like orange juice, a hair of orange juice.
Hair in my orange juice.
Yeah, you don't want that. But yeah, it has bitterness, but it kind of finishes a little smoother when it's going down. It's pretty tasty.
Yeah, and the smell. So right when you pop it open, the smell is very citrusy, like Russ was saying. It really does have kind of that orange note to it, which most of the ones that we see of these hazies, you get a lot more of the grapefruit ish.
Yeah, this one has
so
a
the
little
smell
more.
is very orange. And it's bitter. I mean, it does have the classic sort of IPA feel to it. This one is unfiltered, so that's what gives it that kind of hazy feel to it. But very, very good. It is the high ABV. So this again is not one that you're going to be drinking any more than maybe one. I would space out if you're going to do a couple, get some Busch Lights in the middle, Miller Lights in the middle.
Oh, definitely. And, now that I'm really drinking this and I kind of just took a little smell of it. It actually smells like orange juice and it actually kind of tastes like orange juice. I'm not even joking, like a beer orange juice. It's really good.
Yeah. And it honestly is. It's really refreshing. The first, few sips and stuff. So that's why I say like, if you have, a 6-pack of these or whatever, share it with your buddies. Have one, maybe 2, but space them out because they can have that effect of almost dehydration. They can definitely make your mouth a little on the drier side. However, they are very, very good. The first few sips here have been, like I said, refreshing.
Yeah, I love the can too. It actually has like a tons of Wisconsin imagery on it. They got cheese, a cow, brats, the Wisconsin state shape. I mean,
big hop behind it too. If you don't look at it really closely, it just looks like it says Scotty Hazy Hop. But if you look behind, there's actually a different shades of green that create the look of an actual hop. Yeah,
and it's funny because they got the miner and the sailor on the barcode logo, just like the flag.
From the flag, yeah.
And it looks like they have a nice tankard of ale, too. So these guys are pretty rad.
Yeah, and hey, you know what? This is just a fantastic beer. It tastes great. It's a little higher on the ABV side, so don't pound a ton of these things. But you're going to dinner, you're having a nice steak dinner or something, you're going to have a couple beers. Why not? Indulge, have, at least one of these. It's very good. I feel like it would pair really well with your early dinner salad, kind of rolling into your entree rather. This is great. I love it.
Yeah, and with the IPAs, you're always going to get that higher ABV, but this one's not terrible. It's not too bad. I could see myself drinking it, but I know I wouldn't be in a good condition if I had a lot of them.
Yeah, definitely a good beer. So if you're reaching for something new and you haven't tried the Scotty Hop Wisconsin Dells Brewing Company, this is definitely a 2 thumb up beer from the boys here at Wisconsin Drunken History.
All right, we're here with Tim Goers from G5 Brewing in Beloit. How you doing, Tim?
Hey, doing great. Thanks for having me on, y'all.
Yeah, no problem. I know we've been kind of in the talks. Hopefully one of these days we can get in there and actually do something. But yeah, with COVID, it's been a little difficult for us too.
Yeah, it's the new norm is what it is, right? Everybody's in it, so
yeah.
I'm glad that you and I were able to all connect, and we'll make it work, right?
Yeah, exactly. So Tim, can you tell us a little bit about G5? How you guys got started? A little bit about the name. Any new beers you got coming up, and I know with probably no events currently, so.
Yeah, we G5 is I work for a great family, the Gundersons. They have 5 family members, so it's pretty natural for them to name the brewery G5. I've been an employee now for a little over 2 years. I was super lucky to get in on the ground floor, so I was able to really help design some of the brewery itself and kind of what fits styles that we want to do. Calendar year number 1, we brewed, I think it was 81 different beers. So I kind of come at it as almost like a craft beer drinker as a brewer. I don't usually go for the same beer all the time, like a flagship, but I do like styles. So
that's awesome.
We always have 2 to 3 IPAs because I love my New Englands, man.
Yeah.
And I'm always pushing us and myself to create some of the better New Englands out there. We want to really strike balance with that soft mouthfeel, but we still want our customers to know that they're drinking an IPA, so it's not super sweet on the back end. So really, we've only brewed 3 IPAs the same over the year and 3 months that we've been open, just because we keep tweaking things just to see if it'll make it a little bit better. And then we always have a Kolsch. We're in Beloit, Wisconsin. We know we got a bunch of people who still drink our big domestics. So it's a win for us if they come step foot in the door and then they ask us what's closest to those styles, which I appreciate. I still go after those myself. And we have a Kolsch that we've really dialed in. It's clean. It's easy drinking. It's 5.4%. And if I can get a lot of our customers to come and start drinking that beer, I know that I can push them to start drinking, wheats. And then we can go to Farmhouse. And then we can maybe dip our toes into the IPAs and maybe a sour too.
Exactly. See if you can get them to naturally branch out and just open up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, my background's in education, so the more I can educate our customers, I don't care who you are. You could be a newbie or you could be somebody who's a pro. We all have opinions. We all have those things. But at the end of the day, it's like, is this true to a style? And is it good? Like, do you want to sit down and share one with friends? So that's what I'm trying to create in a glass, honestly.
Yeah, no, I had some really good ones. And do you guys kind of stay with the trends? I know kind of the hazy IPA is becoming the new norm.
Yeah, we're trying to stay on trend, and we're trying to project what might be a new trend, which it's a moving target at best. Because if we actually just had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. The trend a few years ago was what was it? Hard sodas.
Yeah.
So your root beers, your cream ale, your cream sodas. We don't hear of those anymore. And then what was the other one that we were talking about? But now everything's like over-fruited sours or over-fruited IPAs. So those they're kind of in vogue. And we've dipped our toes into that, but I personally just don't love the smoothie texture of those beers. They kind of are off-putting for my palate. And so when we do fruited beers, we try to strike a balance of like, you're still drinking beer, but it has a lot of that fruit character to it. And we only use natural purees. And so sometimes we don't get the best flavor components out of those, but we're trying to push ourselves into staying with trends. But like the hazy IPA thing, I'm obsessed with that beer. I have a really good friend that's out east, and he's luckily lives in Milwaukee, or he's from Milwaukee, so he's been able to bring back some very good representations of those styles. And so I really do hate it when I drink a beer. I'm like, son of a bitch, I don't quite know how they got to that finished product. And that's like an awesome challenge.
Yeah, I love that. That's like the scientist aspect of it. You know, you just keep trying new formulas to see what's going to hit.
100%. Exactly.
So yeah, we were making jokes. I think last summer, was it the White Claw that was becoming the in?
Yeah, the seltzers were the huge thing last year.
Yeah, the seltzers are ginormous, and we've had a few inquiries about those. We just came out with like 2 weeks ago. It's like our own shandy, essentially. So we made like a nice tart 5% ale that's really beautiful just to drink in the summer. But then our bartenders have got the chance to play with the base beer and add, I think we've got right now lemonade, strawberry lemonade, mango, pineapple, and then the craziest one that they came up with is a Tootsie Roll shandy.
Oh, wow.
So it's like a cherry chocolate shandy.
It sounds pretty good.
Sounds like dessert.
I was super, super skeptical, but then you taste it, you're like, holy buckets. It does feel like I just chewed through one of those Tootsie Pop rolls.
I know one of the experiments we tried at my house was using a Count Chocula cereal, and it actually turned out pretty good.
It really did. It was a really good stout.
But yeah, Tim, thanks again. So we just want to know, I guess, I know with COVID things have been weird. What other event, do you guys have events coming up, or do you guys still have trivia or anything?
No, we've kind of put a kibosh on all of that. We're taking a very conservative approach. So our restaurant, no matter what, until we get the really okay, we've only opened up 25%. So we're going to try to maintain social distance. We're going to try to beat this as a small restaurant brewery. We're going to try to help the state beat this the best that we can. So all of our employees are masked. We shut sections down inside the restaurant from 3 to 4 so that we can re-sanitize everything. Release wise, we still are averaging about two releases a week. So last month we just went into cans for the first time in retail. And so we did a hazy IPA called Atari Graphics that's been selling really well. We have Pin Up Cheesecake, which is a kettle sour with dark cherries that tastes kind of like a cheesecake. And then we put our Kolsch cans too, and then we're going to be canning at the end of this month. So we've flipped our model a little bit rather than trying to, encourage everybody to come to the brewery and have a little food and then have a flight or two. Obviously, that's not the new norm right now. So the new norm is we're going to try to go into retail about once a month and we're trying to educate people who at G5 is, because there are so many breweries out there and there's so many good ones. There's a lot of people who haven't heard of us. And so I think if they can get their hands on a can and give us an honest shot, I think we'll win a few people over.
I agree. Definitely.
Yeah, and I always tell people about how cool the place is. I mean, you guys got the industrial look, you got the outdoor patio, you got the nice glass window. It's like one of the coolest places, honestly.
As a brewer, I will pinch myself. This is the God honest truth of if I think I'm having a bad day, I look up and my entire brewery is full of windows. And that is not the norm for breweries. Breweries are typically in tin buildings because it's nice and cheap. It's a warehouse essentially, but I get to see the outside all of the time. And so I do have to pinch myself, and I think I'm having a bad day. I'm like, really? Is it this? You're making beer for your career, and like you're looking outside at sometimes beautiful weather, or if a storm's rolling in, it doesn't matter. Like I'm constantly, quote unquote, outdoors.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get the sun shining on you. I know, like, a lot of cubicle people have it where it's like a cave type.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah,
Right.
awesome. But Tim, before we let you go, we got about 9 questions for you. Called "How Wisconsin Are You?" If you're willing
great.
to participate.
I am. I'm up for this challenge.
All right. So, have you ever tailgated at a Brewers, Packers, or Badgers game?
That's a silly question. That must be the easiest of them.
That's
All
why we
three, multiple times.
that's why we leave it at number 1.
Yeah, perfect.
We want everybody to start with a yes.
Yeah. So you hit the trifecta on that one.
All right, I'm feeling good about myself. That's good. Keep that ego up.
All right. So if you have a beer brat, is there a G5 beer that you would use?
Oh, yeah. The Kolsch is beautiful for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to give that a shot.
Yeah, it's good.
Have you ever had a squeaky cheese curd?
I grew up in like northwest Wisconsin, so I've been to Ellsworth, which is like the king of squeaky cheese curds.
Yes, it is.
I've definitely ordered. So like they closed down due to COVID, but they still do box orders. So we ended up getting a huge thing of cheese.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Have you ever operated a snowblower?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's north.
Yes.
That's a Wisconsin thing. So.
And honestly, you say that with sort of like a frowny face too, like, yeah, unfortunately I have.
Don't demean me with those questions. No.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Have you ever hit a deer?
Oh, I have not hit a deer.
Okay.
I've been super fortunate.
That's really lucky.
I'm glad to hear it.
I think probably 80% of the people have hit a deer that we've had on here. So.
Well, hold on. So I got a weird story. In high school, I was the sober man that was driving a bunch of drunk people from a hick town, and I hit a dead deer. Does that hurt, or does that count?
It's counted. You got it.
Okay.
Nailed.
I hit a deer.
All right. Do you like your Bloody Mary? Do you like Bloody Marys? And if so, how do you prepare them?
I love Bloody Marys. I like them almost like a New England IPA. I like them a little bit thick in the mouth, but they're super spicy with a nice beer chaser.
Got to add that A1 in there, right?
Oh, man. Worcester A1.
Awesome.
Spice it up. Yeah, you got it.
All right. Have you been to a supper club, and which one do you recommend?
Oh, I've been to many supper clubs. On the fancier side, the one, in Madison, what the heck is it called? Up on the square. That place is my jam.
I can't remember that one. I know what you're talking about, but I just can't think of the name either off the top of my head.
Oh, gosh, this is going to kill me. What an idiot. That's a great question, and it should be in every question about being how Wisconsin you are.
Yeah, I know where it's at too, and I've actually seen the logo, and I can picture it in my head.
Yeah, I can. Oh my goodness, this is going to drive me bonkers.
We'll skip
to the Tornado Room.
Oh, the Tornado Steakhouse.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, heck yeah.
Oh, if any of your listeners are in Madison or have never been, you have to go. And honestly, their steaks are beautiful, but the venison there, holy buckets, it is to die for.
Yeah, and they kind of have like that vibe too, where it's kind of like the darker room too, the setting.
Oh, it is old school.
It is old school supper club to a T.
Yeah, it really is.
All right, we got 2 more questions for you. Have you ever hit black ice?
Yes.
Unfortunately.
I maybe put a dent in a car once because of that.
All right, last question. Obviously, besides G5, is there another brewery tour you recommend our listeners check out?
If this is not one of everybody's answers, it should be. Lakefront has a hilarious and very well thought out brewery tour. It's the best. You laugh, you get some drinks, and then you just sit there on the river and you get that finish your tour with a beer on the river. It's fantastic.
Yeah, if I knew the Laverne and Shirley theme song, I'd have a singer right now, but I don't know all the lyrics to it.
Right.
No, man.
I know the word schlamazel is in there, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
If that's a word.
It's so good. Those guys do such an outstanding job.
They do.
And then they make the cannabis joke about hops.
Yep.
And the bung. They make a bung joke.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bernie's dugouts in there. You used to be able to slide in that.
The real Bernie's, the original from County Stadium, yeah.
It's from County, yep.
Awesome.
But yeah, that place is awesome.
But Tim, again, thank you for your time. I can't wait to stop out there and visit you guys. We got some koozies, obviously. We just talk more beer for hours with you.
Yep.
No, I could too, yeah. Yeah, once we get to better understanding what's going on with this, we'd love to have you down. And, I mean, I could talk beer with anybody for hours, but especially with beer geeks that, kind of understand some of the lingo and like to go through the process.
Absolutely. We'll come down there and we'll make some wort with you.
Yeah, perfect. That works all right with me.
All right.
Sounds good, Tim. You take it easy. Have a good day.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, bye.
All right. That concludes this episode of Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast.
If you enjoyed this vulgar display of Wisconsin, we recommend you subscribe via SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn.
Also, leave us a review on any one of those above-mentioned sites, and we can read one at the end of every show. Follow us on social media, and feel free to reach out, especially if there is a piece of history or weird news you'd love us to share or research, as well as highlight some local artists or music. Our website is projectcapestudio.com.
I'd also like to thank my friend and past coworker, Steph Skiback, for providing us with awesome podcast cover art, as well as the Dang It's for intro and outro music, and all of you for listening. As always,
Watch out for deer on the way home.